I felt empty. My life just totally felt empty. I tried everything. I mean, drugs, car theft, you name it, I did it. In a bowling alley, I was drunk. I saw these bunch of girls and decided, wow, this would be fun.
I thought he was cute when we met. I don't know, just the bad boy in him, I think, really.
I called her and 6 months later we were married. We rushed into this, we ran away, we got married, we got into a car accident. Like 4 weeks later after the car accident, we found out we were pregnant with our first daughter. I was a meth addict and I hid it from her and avoided family and her and ran away from her many, many times. When she was pregnant with Mackenzie, I just lost my mind. And she knocked on the door and she told me she was going to the hospital. And I shut the door and I was like, okay. Or I told her, okay, I'll be there. And I shut the door and I went into the bathroom and I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, I just gotta get high. I didn't like myself. So I left the hospital and I didn't even speak to anybody for weeks. Until I didn't have any money, I didn't have anything. I needed someone, and I called Allisa, and she came and brought me food. And that turned into me hitting her. I struck her, and that tore our marriage apart.
Well, for a lot of it, I was fighting to try to keep it together. And then I gave up. I couldn't do it anymore.
That was the final straw, and she had enough. And it just, that put me down. I mean, real down. And I just kept getting high to like quit dealing with these feelings and quit feeling anything. And that didn't help. I was going to get high and I was walking in this pouring rain and this voice just came inside me and it said, you can do all this, but you can't say no to that pipe. And I was like, to myself, I go, is this God or is this just me talking to myself? And I turned and I looked at the sky and I said, if this is you, God, make it rain hard. And it downpoured. And I said, God, please tell me if it's really you. I want to know that this is your voice. Just make it pour like it's never poured before. And it just downpoured. I mean, the streets were full of water and knee deep and it wouldn't stop raining and it was beating so hard. And I finally got to where I was going and I was like, I'm done. I'm done. God's talking to me. I know what I'm missing. The only time you could get out of your cell was to go to church. And it was only an hour long and I was like, okay. And I believe it was the story about Abraham and I was like, wow, like I had this thirst. Finally I knew what I was missing. I mean, I did. I knew what I was missing. And I just sat there through church and I was happy and I was like, okay, when I get out of jail, like I know what I'm doing. And I got out of jail and I got to see my girls, and the first weekend it came, I came to Hope, and I'd never felt, like I'd been to Hope before, but I'd never felt what I felt that day. And I remember somebody walked up to me, and I was just sitting there kind of, not bummed, but just sitting there alone. And he walks up to me and he says, you're loved. And I thought, I am. She still wouldn't talk to me. She thought it was a game.
Just a show. I didn't think that it was gonna last. That it was just one of those cycles that he got in where things were gonna get better and then it was just gonna fall apart again.
I didn't blame her one bit. But I remember praying, and God talked to me again. He told me, he says, just wait. Just wait. I didn't know that wait was going to be 4 years, but you know what? It was worth every second of it. Even though it was going good with God, I still had to wait in time. I had to surrender everything to Him and wait for Him, because it's in His time, not in ours, you know. And even though I'd surrendered, I still had to keep walking and waiting for what He had planned. Now we're together. We take it a day at a time. We know that no matter what, we can work together, and with God in between us, it's the greatest.